Hey there guys, it's Martyn here, and yes, it's finally time. I have now completed the Walt Disney Animated Classics collection. A lot of you have watched my other video that was focusing on the Pixar films, the Disney Pixar films. Of course, Finding Dory is out on DVD now in the UK, but they have not yet released it with, you know, a slipcase like this, which is numbered. Finding Dory will be number 17, but rest assured, if they do release that, I will pick it up. But in the meantime, the classic collection, I now own all 54. So I'm just going to take you through each and every one of them, I guess. So let's start at the very beginning, because, you know, it's a very good place to start. And so, the one that started it all, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Walt Classics number 1. Released in 1937, this was huge for its time. There had never been a feature-length animated film before. This was the first of its kind, and this release actually has audio commentary with Walt Disney himself, which I haven't listened to, but I'm sure will be very fascinating to hear what he thinks about it. A classic story, of course, and this was a classic one from my childhood as well. You know, everyone has different Disney films that they watched as kids, and this was definitely one I watched. Classic number 2 is Pinocchio. Released in 1940, this film actually wasn't a success at the time, believe it or not. It's only in the years to come that it gained this cult status of being an amazing movie. And it is amazing, but it's very strange. Of course, it gave us the iconic song Wish Upon a Star, which is now like the main theme for Disney as a brand. You see it before each of their movies, etc. And yeah, again, this is a classic movie. Of course, has Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket, who's a classic character. The songs, Hi Diddly Dee and Actor's Life for Me, which is hilarious considering the profession I want to go into. But yeah, this is a weird movie, like obviously towards the end on Pleasure Island, when all the boys start becoming donkeys. Only watching it as an adult do I realise how deranged that is. But if you haven't seen it, check it out. You know, it's a classic for a reason. Classic number 3 is Fantasia, also released in 1940. And I believe for Walt, this was meant to be like his magnum opus sort of film. Like, he wanted to make this a long-running series, and the premise is, because it's unlike any other Disney film, the premise is it's a bunch of shorts that are set to classical music, everything from Beethoven to Stravinsky, all kinds of stuff. But it's a beautifully animated film, and I do think it's quite a Marmite film though. Like, people will either love this film for what it does, or they will hate it because it's not quote-unquote standard Disney, but I think it's fantastic, and seeing it as an adult, I think it's just beautifully animated, a lot of time and craft, and it's a shame it didn't become a series, because like Pinocchio, this wasn't a major success, and this was very expensive to make back in 1940. But again, if you haven't seen it, I highly, highly recommend you check out Fantasia. And classic number 4 is Dumbo, the first of the purple sleeve. Classic number 4, yes, Dumbo, released in 1941. I think this was a bit more of a success, but not phenomenal. So it's been digitally remastered, there's a deleted scene. And yeah, Dumbo again is a classic tale. This was another big one from my childhood that I had on VHS that I watched again and again. Because it's a short film, I mean, it's only 60 minutes, but by that omission, it's like, you can just watch it, it's an easy watch. The story's classic. The elephant who's separated from his mother has to join the circus, finds a friend, and learns how to fly. Yes. And the songs are iconic, like Baby Mine is one of the saddest but most beautiful Disney songs out there. Some would say it's even sadder than a certain lion dying in a certain film coming up. But there's that, there's Casey Jr.'s coming down the track. Yeah, Pink Elephants is trippy as all hell, but I think it's a great animated sequence. So yeah, again, highly recommend Dumbo. Classic number 5, released in 1942, this is Bambi. Yeah, who doesn't love Bambi? Again, another short film, only 67 minutes. Digital restoration, Bambi's forest friends, which looks like a documentary. Yeah, do you know what? Bambi wasn't one that I actually had as a child or watched as a child. I only saw this for the first time when I was about 15, I think, and yeah, it's a really nice animated movie. Story's a bit light, but I think that serves a good purpose for this film, if that makes sense. There's not much to it, and obviously the infamous scene, spoilers, the scene where Bambi's mother is shot and killed off screen is still a very heartbreaking moment in Disney history. So yeah, if you just, sort of like Dumbo, if you want something light and easy to watch, then check out Bambi. And now classic number 6, Saludos Amigos. Hadn't heard of it? Neither had I until I picked it up. This is an odd one. As you can see, it's only 40 minutes, meaning it just qualifies to be a feature film, because to qualify as a feature film it has to be at least 40 minutes in length. And I can't really describe Saludos Amigos. I mean, this came out in, I can't remember for sure, but either 1943 or 44, and it means greetings, friends. 6 full length. Has an Academy Award nominated song of the same title. Yeah, it sort of blends live action and animation, as it says, looking at different cultures, and it's a little documentary in a way, with some decent animation, but, you know, it's really short, there's not much to it, but I'd say only die-hard Disney fans or collectors such as myself will enjoy something like this, so if you're not mad about getting every single one, then maybe give this one a pass. Classic number 7 is The Three Caballeros. And I remember seeing a snippet of this movie because I remember this guy on one of my Disney sing-along songs tapes back in the late 90s, early 2000s, if anyone remembers them. Again, similar to Saludos Amigos, well, this one's 70 minutes in length, but again, this is sort of like Saludos Amigos, as in it's looking at a lot of Mexican culture, but it's also a great blend, as it says, of animation and live action stuff, lots of, that's it, Latin American culture, mainly, sorry, should I say. But, more entertaining than Saludos Amigos, but again, I think if you're not a diehard or if you're not a collector, then maybe give this one a miss, but this took me forever to find, and I mean forever. But if you want to get them all, give it a watch. Classic number 8. Released in 1946, this is Make Mine Music. And this is another package film, as it's called, a collection of shorts. It's 75 minutes. I believe there's 10 shorts. Oh, sorry, 9. 9 shorts in here. And this is my favourite of the package films. The shorts are very varied. They're all very fun. The Whale Who Wanted to Sing at the Met is a great little short. Casey at the Bat, Peter and the Wolf. Just honestly, I'd say pick this up, even if you're not a diehard. You'll have kids who'll enjoy this, or you'll enjoy it yourself, because I think this is a great little package film. Sadly, it's not talked about that much, but I think it deserves more praise. Definitely worthy of the Classics title. Next is Fun and Fancy Free, classic number 9. Released in 1947, again, this is another package movie, running at 70 minutes. But again, I believe this is 2 shorts. It's about 35 minutes each, and Jiminy Cricket's in this for some strange reason. He's not with Pinocchio anymore. There you go, The Joyful Telling of Bongo, which is about a bear and what bears do, I guess. Did you know bears show that they love each other with a slap? Well, if you watch this movie, you'll understand that. And we also have Mickey and the Beanstalk. I wonder what that's ripping off. And why does Donald look really shady? Donald, stop, please. I didn't mean to take the last cookie. I didn't mean. But yeah, this is, and again, a little fun one. Not as good as Make My Music, so yeah, be wary if you want to purchase this one. I mean, I found it for pretty cheap, but as these covers become rarer, it's going up in price, so yeah, just watch yourself. Classic number 10, which is Melody Time. Melody Time, yep, it's another package film, you guessed it. This time Donald's on the front, standing on some music sheets. Yeah, another package film. I think there's, does it say how many there is? I think there's 5 or 6. Johnny Appleseed's a good one. Little Toot. Yeah, this one runs in at 72 minutes. It's better than Fun and Fancy Free, but in my opinion not as strong as Make My Music. But yeah, Melody Time, if you can find it for cheap, I'd say pick it up. Less shorts, but they're still a pretty entertaining movie to watch. The last of the package films, Disney classic number 11. The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Now, before I saw this, because none of these package films, by the way, were ones from my childhood, so when I first heard of this, I thought, foolishly, that they were like a team, but obviously Mr. Toad is from Wind in the Willows, but it's Ichabod who takes front and centre here. Released in 1949, and clocking in at only 65 minutes. This, again, has two shorts, the first being The Wind in the Willows, and then a retelling of the legend of Sleepy Hollow with the Headless Horseman, of course. But again, it won, as it says there, Golden Globe Award for Best Cinematography, 1950. Yeah, it's entertaining, like Melody Time and Fun and Fancy Free before it. The ultimate package film is always going to be Make My Music, so if you were going to get one, stick to that one. But yeah, this one's fun. But thankfully after this one, we'd return to a feature-length, just one-story movie for Disney. And of course, that starts with animated classic number 12, Cinderella. Released in 1950, this was the Walt Disney Studios, one of their last gambles, because I think, obviously, this was the first feature film they produced in, about 8 years, and if this didn't do well, then it could have meant bad things. But, of course, it was a massive success. The Disney classic that taught us that dreams really do come true. That's funny, I thought Pinocchio did that all the way back in 1940. Oh well. But yeah, this has the Tangled Ever After short, which obviously is from the film Tangled, which we'll get to much later. Diane Disney Miller, who's one of Walt Disney's descendants. A new Disney Princess Fantasyland Behind the Magic. Yeah, do you know what? I didn't grow up with Cinderella as a kid. Nothing against princesses, but I just didn't have it. The first time I saw this, I'm going to come clean, I saw the 2015 remake first. Yeah, but I thought that was pretty decent. Then I saw the original, and still thought this was pretty good in terms of animation, the songs, and the story. But I think I don't love it as other people do, simply because I didn't grow up with it. It's not one I cherish, but it's still a good movie. So, yeah, if you want to collect Disney, even for the kids of today's generation, you got to pick this up. Disney classic number 13 is Alice in Wonderland. Now this was one of the three that eluded me. So say by the end of August, the end of this summer, I had pretty much all of these movies bar 3, and this is one of them. And I thought this would be really easy to find. Rest assured, I do have it now. And what we got on here, so learn about how Walt Disney succeeded. Oh, so like how it became the animated movie. There's a deleted scene. Do you know what though, guys? I have never seen nor read Alice in Wonderland. I haven't even seen the Tim Burton remakes or the sequel that was out this year. So, I mean, I'm familiar with the story of Alice in Wonderland, but I really do need to crack down and watch this film because I'm 20 years too late in terms of how long I've been on this earth. So yeah, but it is a classic just by its reputation alone. So if you've got young kids or if you want to relive some nostalgia, check out Alice in Wonderland. Now here's one I grew up with as a kid. Disney Classics number 14 is Peter Pan. Yes, released in 1953. Yeah, this one was a classic for me. Also because I'm hugely affiliated with Great Ormond Street Hospital in London, and Peter Pan is their mascot. So that fits. It will live in your heart forever. It certainly has with me. Yeah, just the characters, Hook and Smee, are hilarious. The songs, the animation, or just the story in general. You forget with these older Disney films, these classics, that they are as old as they are. Like this, for example, next year this will be 64 years old? You never guess. So you got the Disney song selection, second star to the right. Oh, it's a list of songs you can sing to. That's fab. And an audio commentary hosted by Roy Disney, which is Walt's brother, if I've remembered that right. But yeah, this is a definite must-buy. Don't avoid it, don't skip it, you'll love it. Peter Pan. It's Peter Pan, people, come on. Don't go watching that new one that came out last year.
Pan, avoid that, no.
Stick to this, and maybe the 2003 one, just for the music. Okay, Disney classic number 15 is Lady and the Tramp. Released in 1955. Again, this one, I didn't grow up with it, and I only saw it for the first time at the end of 2015. This is a lovely little movie. Like, the plot's not too complicated, there's not that much to it, but it's just told in a very nice, simple way. And what we got for bonus features, you got, again, Diane Disney Miller, and her again remembering Dad, that's nice, and Puppypedia going to the dogs. So yeah, if you haven't seen Lady and the Tramp, I'd advise just watching it just to see it. I mean, you're not going to be harmed by it. It's a lovely little movie. Yeah, one for the children, one for the nostalgia. Check it out. And Disney classic number 16, Pretty in Pink, is Sleeping Beauty. And there's Princess Aurora, who's very well designed on this cover. Released in 1959, this was like another big one for Disney that I don't think had a great success, but it's gained its following over the years. Oddly enough, I remember having this tape on VHS, but I never watched it because as a dumb kid that I was, I literally thought the whole film she would be sleeping, so I never watched it. But I watched it for the first time this year, and yeah, it's alright. Not amazing in my opinion, but yeah, not bad. You got Music and More again, song selection, Backstage Disney, Grand Canyon. The Peter Tchaikovsky story, which is a documentary, I'd watch that. It's so interesting. It's so good. So yeah, if you've got children who like the princess movies, this one's no harm. But I think it's one of the slower paced ones, so just be wary of that. 101 Dalmatians, released in 1961. Now, the first time I saw the live action one with Glenn Close first as a kid, but I did have this. Didn't watch it that much. You've got, oh my god, 101 pop-up trivia facts for the family and the fan. Oh my, I must check that out. But yeah, obviously Cruella de Vil is the classic villain. The songs in it, and just the action. Like, if you've seen the live action first, like I did, you'll enjoy this. I'm going to be controversial and say I might prefer the live action one. I don't know if that's just how I grew up with it, but I do. This is enjoyable. Again, like Lady and the Tramp, it's simple. You'll like it. Classic number 18 is Sword in the Stone. Now, this was one of my favourites growing up as a kid. I watched this relentlessly. Released in 1963. This is the King Arthur story with Merlin. And it's very funny, like Archimedes the Owl is hilarious, Madam Mim's hilarious. Just the whole journey, the little segments they go through. I don't know why this one doesn't get that much praise. Like, you talk to people and you mention Sword in the Stone, and they're like, yeah, I wasn't sure about that one. I think it's an absolutely fantastic movie. So yeah, in my opinion, do not skimp over this one. Check it out. It's well worth your time. Classic number 19, which resurfaced this year in a new fancy live-action movie, is The Jungle Book, released in 1967. It doesn't have the best animation, but obviously Disney was going through some tough financial stuff. Now, obviously, the characters from this are iconic. You've got Mowgli the man cub, Baloo the bear, Bagheera the panther, Shere Khan, Kaa the snake, the elephants, the vultures. So the characters is probably one of the most iconic casts in a Walt Disney animated classic movie. The songs as well. Like, I love the We're Your Friends song the vultures sing. It's a shame they're not in the new movie. Spoilers, but they're not. But yeah, this is one I grew up with as a kid. It's one I think no Disney fan, new or old, should be without. So without a doubt, you need to pick this up and give it a watch. Alrighty, classic number 20 is the Aristocats, released in 1970. There's Duchess on the front, looking very glamorous. Telling the story of Duchess with Thomas O'Malley, her 3 children. I'm going to get these right, so that's Marie, Belus, and Toulouse. Berlioz, Toulouse. I don't know. French names, but there's a lot of bonus features on here. I struggle to even read that. But yeah, so it's worth it for the bonus features, it looks. Again, maybe not the best animation, but the songs are iconic, and it's just a lovely little story. It's one I found people are very Marmite to, but I think it's instantly lovable. Again, I had this as a kid, and I loved this one. So yeah, check it out. Alright, Disney classic number 21. That's right, it's Robin Hood. Yeah, released in 1973. This is the Robin Hood story, but they're all animals. So Robin's a fox, Prince John is a lion, Little John is a bear. Yeah, for me it's a classic. I had this as a kid. Again, this was still in the bit of the animation rut of the late 60s, early 70s, but the story's really simple but very enjoyable. Lots of action, lots of humour. I think it's just an essential addition, so even if it's not talked about that much, make sure you pick this up. Disney Classic 22 is The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and I'm not sure whether I'm ashamed that rhymed or not. I have seen many Winnie the Pooh shorts. Oh, 3 stories, there you go. Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree, Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day, and Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too. I've seen lots of Winnie the Pooh in my time. He was a staple for me as a kid, but I don't think I've actually seen this specific movie. This came out in 1977. So, I mean, it's Winnie the Pooh. You get what's on the tin. Simple, fun, entertaining. Okay, Disney classic number 23 is The Rescuers, which also came out in 1977. The first time since 1940 that Disney released 2 animated classics in the same year. And there's Bernard and Bianca. Yeah, this is a really nice little story. A lot more... The animation took a bit of a step up, but this one didn't do so well, I don't think, when it came out. But it's a nice little movie enough. I think I remember seeing trailers for this on various VHS tapes I had, but I never owned it. So I saw it for the first time this year, and yeah, it's good, guys. I don't know why we're ignoring this. It's a nice little movie, so give it a rent or find a copy of it. Just check it out. Classic 24 is The Fox and the Hound. Again, I didn't see this as a kid. I saw a lot of trailers for it, but I never watched it. But you know what? I saw it this year. It is one of the most heartwarming Disney stories I've ever seen. This came out in 1981 and did alright, I think, at the box office. Not phenomenal, but it did alright. And I just recommend this just for the story. Like Dumbo, it's very heartwarming, it's very gentle, but aggressive when it needs to be. I just think it's a very important Disney movie. Maybe not landmark, but important nonetheless. Alright, now this one. Classic 25, The Black Cauldron. This is the final film I needed to complete my collection, believe it or not. I only found it a few days ago. Released in 1985, this was another big gamble for Disney that didn't do so well. Now, it wasn't one I grew up with as a kid. It's not one I watched, or have watched. But I've heard very negative things on the whole. I mean, some people like it. One of my friends from home really likes it, but I think it's gonna be one I'm gonna have to watch and see for myself. Let me know in the comments if you think this is a good movie. Classic number 26 is Basil the Great Mouse Detective. Released in 1986. Again, this is another more simple story, like the Sherlock Holmes tale, but it's a mouse. And Vincent Price plays Ratigan, the villain, and he's great, so that's worth it alone. Yeah, lots of action, really nice animation, like the clock tower scene. Lots of likeable characters. Just a really nice, simple film to keep you entertained, really. So yeah, if you can find it, pick it up. Classic 27 is Oliver and Company, which is the Oliver Twist story, apparently. I've never seen it, not yet, and it wasn't one I grew up with as a kid. But I've heard the song Why Should I Worry, which is insanely catchy. And this came out in 1988. Moderately successful. But yeah, I mean, I can't really judge it because I haven't seen it. But if you like your Disney animals and based on the Oliver Twist story, I'd say it's worth a watch, wouldn't you? Alright, now we're getting into the big guns. Classic 28 is The Little Mermaid. Yes, released in 1989, this film is highly regarded as kicking off what's known as the Disney Renaissance, which was a period from, I'd say here, 1989 up until 1999 or 2000, where Disney just hit a gold mine and just ran with it. So this is obviously the story of Ariel, the Little Mermaid, about how she falls in love with someone from the surface and how she aims to do that but loses her voice to Ursula, who's the villain. It's a very classic film. Admittedly, I only watched it for the first time this year. Again, I just didn't grow up with the princess movies, guys. I just didn't. But it's a very good movie, very good songs, cast of characters. A classic that no Disney fan should be without. Alrighty, then going on to Classic 29, it's The Rescuers again. The Rescuers Down Under. Out of all the Disney films up to this point that could have had a sequel, it was a bit surprising that they chose The Rescuers, which did okay, but not as phenomenally as some of their other movies. It returns with Bernard and Bianca and has some new characters because, as the title suggests, the majority takes place in Australia. But I actually think, as do a lot of people, this is a lot better than the first Rescuers. The animation's a lot more beautiful and stunning. The characters are even more memorable than the first. It's just a better movie on the whole, I'd argue. So but this I found in the UK at least with the slipcover, this was so much harder to find. This was the only one of the whole 54 that I purchased online. The rest I hunted for and found in car boot sales, second-hand stores, or mainstream shops. But this I had to search online for. So if you want it with the cover, you might have to do some digging. But if not, it's quite cheap in shops just to buy it on its own. But definitely check this one out. Now this was the big hitter, wasn't it? Classic number 30 is Beauty and the Beast. Released in 1991, this was the first animated feature to be nominated for Best Picture, which had never happened before. Wealth of special features there, and of course this is a classic story of the tale as old as time. About Belle, who gets trapped in a castle with the Beast, and she learns to love him and vice versa. But obviously there's a lot more to it than that, and I think you know the story just as well as I do. And I'd go hands down to say, this is my favourite Disney movie of them all, of the animated classics. And just for the record, I'm very, very excited to see the live-action remake that's coming out next March, I believe, with Emma Watson as Belle. I saw the trailer, realised it was pretty much a reconstruction of the original trailer, and yeah, guys, I'm super hyped. I know it probably won't be as good as this, but I'm a faithful, you know? We were on a decent start with Cinderella and the Jungle Book, so let's hope they knock it out of the park with this one. Classic number 31 is Aladdin. Yes, the Arabian Nights tale of the street rat who finds the genie lamp, of course, and Robin Williams the genie pops out, which is my favourite role of his, by the way. Not one I grew up with as a kid, but one when I did watch it I absolutely loved. I think the animation's great, the songs are iconic, Robin Williams is Robin Williams in the most phenomenal way. It's such a shame he's not with us anymore. But yeah, again, as with most films of these Disney Renaissance, this 1992 classic is not to be missed. Alright, classic number 32. Another big hitter is The Lion King. Released in 1994, when this came out, this was the highest grossing animated film of all time, and probably Disney's most iconic property. Where do I start? The songs, the animation, the characters, the story, even if it is just a rehash of Hamlet. This, for a long time, was my favourite Disney movie, and I'd say on some days, it ties with Beauty and the Beast as my favourite. It's just so... Beauty and the Beast and this were the two key Disney films of my childhood. I watched my 1994 Malaysian cinema pirate copy of this relentlessly, and I still have it. But this film, you have to own this if you claim to be a Disney fan. You just have to. Alright, classic 33 is Pocahontas, released in 1995. This film wasn't as successful as Disney hoped, I believe. Again, it wasn't one I watched or owned as a kid. In fact, I watched it for the first time at the age of 18. And yeah, I enjoyed it. The songs were really nice. Her singing voice is beautiful. The animation's a bit odd for me, but I've heard I'm not the only one in that category. The story's alright. Yeah, I mean, it was successful, just not as successful. But it's still part of the Disney Renaissance. I'd still say you should check it out because it's a good movie. It's not bad. Just you might not enjoy it as some of the others. Here we go. Classic number 34 is The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yes. Now again, this was one I saw trailered a lot. I never watched it as a kid. Watched it as I got older. But this is definitely one of the darker Disney movies. Like some of the stuff with Frollo, the villain, is very dark, and it's I'm surprised it has a U rating really. But this came out in 1996, the year of my birth, so this is my birth Disney film. Yeah, the animation's stunning, the songs are amazing, and I just think it's such an important story, not just in terms of literary history, but in terms of animation. So if you're collecting Disney, check this one out. Alright, classic number 35 is Hercules. Yes, this came out in 1997, and this one was one of my childhood favourites. I watched this relentlessly. The characters like Pain and Panic, and James Woods as Hades is absolutely hilarious. So, I mean, and the songs, I mean, some people don't like it. I love the whole gospel overtone of the five muses that sing, and obviously the story's a classic one. Danny DeVito's great as Phil the trainer. But yeah, this, again, another hit of the Disney Renaissance that you should not be without. Classic number 36 is Mulan. Released in 1998, this was another big hit of the time. The songs, obviously the Make a Man Out of You is one of the most sang Disney songs I've ever heard.
Because it just gets you going, man.
Gets the people going.
But yeah, this is a really good story, beautifully animated, beautifully told, very empowering for women. This was starting the trend, obviously, moving away from the
I'm a princess and I just love men because I'm a princess.
But yeah, this was a breakaway from that trend, and it's so nice to see. Yeah, definitely another hit of the Disney Renaissance. Pick it up. Alright, animated classic number 37 is Tarzan. Released in 1999. There's been so many film versions of Tarzan, but I would argue this is the best. The animation's stunning. The soundtrack by Phil Collins. Now, bear in mind, I love Phil Collins, and his soundtrack is just phenomenal. It's on my iPod all the time, as is the whole of his discography, but never mind. Some would argue this is the last big hit of the Disney Renaissance. It did very well, because what was to come didn't do as well, and it was a bit of a downward trend. But yeah, again, last of the Disney Renaissance or not, this is a Disney classic you shouldn't be without, so go and pick it up. Alright, classic number 38 is Fantasia 2000. So yes, they actually did follow Walt's wishes and eventually made a sequel to Fantasia 60 years later. I haven't actually watched this one yet, although I've seen clips of it before, and I see there's some interesting comedy interludes with celebrities, and they don't seem too funny, but I mean, nothing will top the original Fantasia, but I'm still excited to see this, and I think if you loved the original Fantasia as I did, I think you can't go too wrong with a sequel that's pretty much doing similar things. So yeah, if you see it, give it a watch. Okay, classic number 39 is The Emperor's New Groove. Released in 2000, this has Emperor Kuzco, who I think's a funny character, but this guy steals the show. That's Kronk, and he's absolutely hilarious. Just, if you watch the film, actually Kronk and Yzma, watch the film for Kronk and Yzma. I'm being serious, just those two are worth this film alone. So yeah, this film is about a king, you know, an emperor who's very rude, distasteful. He gets turned into a llama instead of being killed, and he learns through being a llama that actually maybe he shouldn't be such a dick. It's a nice little film, decent animation, not one I grew up with, but it's worth some time. Maybe just one watch, eh? Right, classic number 40 is Atlantis, The Lost Empire. There's Milo the hero, portrayed by Michael J. Fox, of all people. This came out in 2001, and I haven't actually seen this, but I've seen like trailers and stuff. The animation's gorgeous. So I'm not really familiar with the story, so I'm afraid I can't tell you much. But again, I hear people, this is a very Marmite film for people. People either love this or they absolutely hate it, just like they hate the sequel. But yeah, if you've seen it before, then you'll know whether to watch it or not. Or if you're just curious, give it a watch. Alright, classic number 41 is Lilo and Stitch. This is a very special film to me for many reasons. I mean, this was the first Disney animated classic I saw in the cinema. I was 6 years old at the time, in 2002. And I just think this is great. Stitch is hilarious. The story, Lilo's story, when it focuses on her, is just amazing. And just the whole setup they have, I mean, I don't know why people hate on this film. It's just, it's funny, it's heartwarming, it's beautiful to look at. The songs in it are memorable, so, and obviously it spawned a few sequels, the TV show, which was great. But yeah, just, if you haven't, then please watch it, because it's just a very nice and uplifting film to watch as a whole. Number 42 is Treasure Planet. Again, I saw this in the cinema in 2002, and that's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. This is a interpretation of the Treasure Island story, of course. And again, this is a very beautiful film to look at. It's very well animated. It didn't do so well. There's Martin Short as the robot Ben. It didn't do so well, but I just honestly don't see why it didn't do so well, because it's just a very entertaining... Okay, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it's entertaining, it's innovative with its ideas and what it does with the Treasure Island story. So yeah, honestly, if you find this, give it a watch. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Classic number 43 is Brother Bear. Released in 2003, this tells the story of a guy who's turned into a bear, obviously not wanting to be a bear, but meets a young cub, and they form a strong bond as brothers, hence the title. Sorry if my storytelling's a bit hazy there, I haven't seen this in quite a while, But again, Phil Collins does the soundtracks, that's an instant win. I saw this in the cinema, loved it. Watched it again recently, loved it again. The two moose characters, I couldn't really care for them, but these two, it's a really nice, strong story. So give this one a watch. Classic number 44 is Home on the Range, the third of the three films that eluded me. But I didn't see this in the cinema, but I bought it on DVD soon after it came out. Now this is the one everyone's like, this is the downfall of Disney. This is what the straw that broke the camel's back. Really? Is it? Because for a while, this is the last mainstream 2D animation Disney did. I think it's really good. I think it's funny, it's witty, it's humorous. I mean, that's Roseanne Barr as the main cow, Maggie, and Judi Dench is in it, and Jennifer Tilly. I really enjoyed this film. It's one I watch constantly. I just don't know why people shit on it. Does every film have to be super duper amazing? Can't it just be entertaining like Robin Hood was or Lady and the Tramp was? So please give this one more time of day. If you haven't seen it, give it a watch. I think it'll get you at least a laugh. Alright, classic 45 is Chicken Little. Released in 2005, this was the first of the 3D animated films Disney started championing, so following in Pixar's footsteps. I wonder why. I saw this in the cinema in 2005, and I haven't seen it since, but I think this is okay. I don't remember it being absolutely groundbreaking or I absolutely loved it, but it's okay, I guess. I'm not sure, guys. I think I'll have to rewatch it. If you remember it and liked it, pick it up. If you haven't seen it, maybe read a synopsis first, watch a trailer just to see if it's worth your time. Classic 46 is The Wild. Yes, now I remember this had controversy when it came out. Again, this came out in 2006, and I watched it in the cinema, thought it was quite funny. But the year before, in 2005, obviously DreamWorks had released Madagascar, and this plot here has a not too dissimilar story, similar characters. So I remember at the time it was like, Disney's running out of ideas, and it didn't do so well at the box office, although I'd argue this film is actually maybe even funnier than Madagascar. There's just something about the humour, the way it's written. I'd say it's worth maybe one watch, but don't expect anything too groundbreaking. Classic number 47 is Meet the Robinsons. It was released in 2007. Again, I remember watching this when it came out, but I haven't seen it since. Thoughts I remember from the time was I liked it, it wasn't bad, but it didn't feel like a Disney movie. I don't know what it was. There was just something off about it. I think that was the problem with some of these early 3D ones. They didn't feel like the Disney style. They felt more DreamWorksy. I think this definitely feels more DreamWorksy, if that makes sense. But it's not harmful. It's an okay movie. Some nice ideas, some funny moments. I'll let you be the judge of whether you see this or not. Classic 48 is Bolt. That's John Travolta as a dog. Need I say more? Yeah, this one was, this came out in 2008, 9, something like that, and yeah, this was alright. Starting to find a bit more of a foothold, I thought. Quite funny, nice characters, nice story, but again, it was still struggling with, I think, did the Disney feeling. I don't know, it's okay, but yeah, I'll let you be the judge on this one. Classic number 49 is The Princess and the Frog. And obviously this is returning to the 2D animation style that Disney was so famous at pioneering. This was released in 2009. And again, this is such a good movie. I watched this for the first time this year. It's actually really good. The songs are nice, the characters, the story, the twist on the whole Princess and the Frog idea. But it's a nice and simple movie, nothing groundbreaking, and it did alright at the box office, but sadly, I think it proved that 2D animation in mainstream films like this is dying out, unfortunately. But this is definitely worth your time and a watch, so pick this up. Alright, classic number 50, that big milestone, is Tangled. There's Rapunzel. Yeah, this was a massive hit. This was, I think, one of the first 3D animated film that felt like a Disney movie. This returned, yes, to the princess-style formula, but I think this one did it really well. It was a nice twist on the Rapunzel storyline. And, yeah, I think if you haven't seen Tangled, you definitely need to check it out, because some people overlook it, but I think you shouldn't. It's such an important movie for Disney, and this was a really big success for them. Obviously, being their 50th got them some good marketing. But yeah, if you haven't seen Tangled, do yourself a favour, get watching it. Classic number 51 is Wreck-It Ralph, released in 2012. This is a massive hit for me because it's all about video games. Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph is like the Donkey Kong character in a Donkey Kong style video game, and it's just about him wanting to be a hero for once and meeting various characters along the way. And there's so many video game cameos. You'll see Sonic and Bowser and Eggman and Street Fighter characters. So if you're a fan of video games, you need to see this movie. It's very funny, very heartwarming, very well made and produced by Disney. Classic 52 is Frozen. And what do I have to say about Frozen that hasn't been said? Released in 2013, this was a massive, massive, massive hit for Disney. Put them back on the map for definite. This made so much money. The songs are in everyone's heads, like Let It Go and We're Not Gonna Forget About It Ever. And it is a very good movie, very strong, characters well defined, story well trod, but in a very good way. The more I watch it, the less wow factor I'm having, but I can see why kids of this generation are watching this again and again. This is their Beauty and the Beast for me, and you know what? That's okay, because this is a top grade A film, and no Disney fan should be without it. Alright, and then classic 53 is Big Hero 6, released in 2014. It's hard to describe the story without giving a lot away, I feel. Baymax is adorable. Watch it for Baymax. He's so funny. It's so adorable. And this story is, again, very action-based, yet heartwarming. And yeah, just watch Big Hero 6, guys. You're not doing yourself any disservice by doing so. Very good movie for Disney. Did exceptionally well. Made nearly $1 billion, I believe, at the box office. So yeah, check this out. You will not be disappointed. And last but not least for now, classic number 54 is Zootropolis. Yes, in the UK it's called Zootropolis, not Zootopia, so please don't give me any flack for that. This came out in 2016, and yeah, this film is phenomenal, guys. It tells such an important story, like lots to do about race, discrimination, acceptance, segregation, but in a very good way that it appeals both to kids and adults. I was very, very impressed with this movie, and this was another monster hit for Disney. This made over $1 billion at the box office, continually solidifying their place as the pioneers of animation. So yeah, if you haven't seen Zootropolis, you need to give this a watch. This guy here is absolutely hilarious. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, watch it. Shakira's song will be in your head forever. You will not be disappointed. And that's it, guys. That is all 54 released Disney animated classics on DVD with the snazzy slipcovers. Now, of course, you'll be asking me about Moana, which is the 55th animated classic and is out now in cinemas. Yes, I see Moana. I saw it last weekend. It is the most beautiful, it's the most beautifully animated Disney film I have ever seen. And if you go and see it, you'll see what I mean. The songs are very good. I think even stronger than Frozen, in my opinion. They might not do as well, but I think they're just as strong. The story's not amazing or groundbreaking, but it's just a very well told story, and thank God it's not about a princess who falls in love with a guy. There's nothing to do with that, yet we have a strong female protagonist. So yeah, I'd go and see Moana. Do yourself a favour. But when that comes out on DVD, I'm sure I will add it to the collection, just like the 54 that have come before it. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Apologies, this has been a very long haul video, but yeah, if you're a Disney fan, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you're getting into Disney, I hope this has inspired you to collect some more. And check out my other video on the Pixar films, which I did, because that's detailing all of those. And yeah, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Let me know in the comments, what's your favourite Disney movie? What's your favourite Disney animated classic movie of all time? Could be any one of these for all I know. And we can have a nice discussion about it. Do you agree with me on my opinions on all of these films? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. But until then, I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So until then, goodbye my friends. Goodbye.